There's a moment in life, and you've felt it before, when the room turns against you. Someone throws a jab, a sly accusation, a public insult that drips with venom. Eyes turn toward you, waiting for your reaction. Your pulse spikes, your mind races, and like most people, you feel the urge to speak, to explain, to correct, to defend. And that, right there, is the moment where the weak are separated from the dangerous. Because the second you defend yourself, you've already lost. Niccolò Machiavelli knew this centuries ago. He understood something most men today can't grasp. The man who defends himself kneels before his accuser. He accepts their frame. He admits they have the right to judge him. The strong man does not do this. The strong man lets the accusation burn in the air until the attacker begins to choke on their own words. Let's dive in. 1. Why defending yourself is a trap. When you defend yourself, you think you're clearing your name. You think you're restoring the truth. But power games are not about truth. They're about perception. And perception is shaped by frames, the invisible rules of the social battlefield. When you say, "That's not true, you don't understand. Let me explain," you've already stepped onto their battlefield. You've accepted their reality. You've given them authority over your reputation. Now they're not the one on trial. You are. Even if you win the argument, you lose. Because the very act of defending makes you look guilty. Only the weak rush to justify themselves. The strong let the silence work for them. 2. The predator's silence. Machiavelli would tell you, "He who explains submits." Let that sink in. When a lion is accused of being dangerous, does it call a meeting? Does it issue a press statement to clear its name? No, it just keeps staring. And that stare cuts deeper than any argument ever could. It plants a seed of fear that grows in silence. The apex predator doesn't seek validation. It doesn't waste breath justifying itself to prey. Your goal isn't to be understood. Your goal is to be feared, respected, untouchable. The kind of presence that speaks louder in silence than others do in screams. 3. The social killshot. Picture this. You're at a business dinner. Someone says, "You always think you're the smartest guy in the room." Most people would laugh nervously or rush to explain, No, that's not true, And in that instant, their status collapses. But the Machiavellian move, you pause, you look at them, no smile, no words, just calm, still presence. Now everyone at the table is wondering, why didn't he respond? Did that attack just bounce off him? Does he know something we don't? The attacker starts shifting in their seat. Suddenly they look insecure. That's the reversal. That's how you flip the frame without lifting a finger. 4. Mystery is power. Here's the truth. The more they understand you, the less they fear you. When you explain yourself, you strip away mystery. When you stay silent, you force them to fill in the blanks. And humans almost always overestimate those who say nothing. That's why the most powerful men you've ever seen, in business, politics, or even film, are rarely the loudest. Think of Michael Corleone in The Godfather. His enemies spoke more than he did. They explained, they shouted, they argued. He just listened and acted when the time was right. 5. The psychological torture of silence. When you refuse to defend yourself, something strange happens. Your accuser begins to self-destruct. At first, they'll repeat their accusation, louder this time. Then they'll add new details. Then they'll start looking around for backup. Why? Because silence is unbearable to the insecure. They wanted a fight, and instead, you gave them a mirror. Now they're the ones sweating under the spotlight. 6. Reframing, the coldest counter. Machiavelli's other weapon was reframing, on flipping the accusation into an attack on the attacker. Someone says, "You're manipulative." You respond, "Only people who can't be influenced say that." Someone says, "You're arrogant." You respond, "Confidence tends to bother the insecure." You're not defending yourself, you're attacking the frame. And in doing so, you make them scramble to defend their own words. 7. The public ambush. I'll give you an example. Years ago, I watched a CEO get ambushed in a meeting. One of his senior managers said in front of the whole board, "I think your strategy is reckless." Everyone froze. All eyes were on the CEO. He didn't lean forward, he didn't defend, he leaned back. After a long pause, he said, "Interesting. Tell us your strategy." The attacker stumbled. Their plan wasn't ready. They started mumbling, backpedaling. Within minutes, the room saw the truth. This bold challenge was nothing but empty bravado. The CEO never raised his voice. He didn't win the argument. He made his opponent collapse under their own weight. 8. Romantic and personal power. This works outside of business too. In relationships, accusations are emotional traps. Your partner says, "You don't care about me anymore." Most men panic. They rush to explain, to reassure, to prove their love. They think they're calming the storm, but they've just accepted the emotional frame. The Machiavellian approach: pause, look them in the eyes and say, "That's not how I see it." No defense, no explanation. Now they start questioning their own tone, their own words. You've taken control of the emotional tempo, and whoever controls the tempo controls the frame. 9. Disappear completely. The ultimate move is vanishing. No reply, no acknowledgement, no reaction. This drives certain people insane. They can't stand the thought that you didn't even deem them worthy of a response. They post more, they talk to others, they try harder to provoke you, and with every attempt they look weaker, more obsessed. Meanwhile, you're unscathed. You didn't win because you proved anything. You won because they destroyed themselves chasing your attention. 10. The 3 tools of the Machiavellian operator. Silence, default mode, cold, still, forces them to carry the weight of their own words. Deflection, shift the spotlight, make them explain themselves, chase their own tail. Precision cuts, short, lethal phrases that end the exchange instantly. Examples: noted, think what you like. Strange that confidence makes people uncomfortable. These aren't defenses, they're weapons. They don't protect you. They assert your position, make others second-guess theirs, and remind them, without you ever saying it, that you are the one in control. 11. Aura is better than reputation. Stop trying to have a good reputation. Good reputations are fragile. One rumor, one lie, one enemy can shatter them. Instead, build a strong reputation. A strong reputation doesn't depend on approval. It depends on aura. You're not always liked. You're not always trusted. But no one dares move against you without thinking twice. And that comes from one thing: you never look like a man who needs to defend himself. 12. The crowd will defend you. Here's the paradox. The more you defend yourself, the more desperate and isolated you appear. But if you remain calm, composed, and silent, something interesting happens. People start defending you for free. They'll speak up. "That was uncalled for. He didn't even respond, and you're still going." Now the crowd becomes your shield, your silent army. And what's better than defending yourself? Having an entire army do it for you, without you lifting a single finger, without you even breaking a sweat. 13. The final stage. The highest level isn't just silence, it's presence. When your aura is so composed, so unmoved, so far above petty attacks that accusations evaporate before they land, you don't need to ignore them. They simply don't stick to you, and that comes from training yourself to never explain, never justify, never seek validation. Your existence becomes the defense, and that's when you become truly untouchable. Machiavelli's law is simple. The most dangerous man is not the one who attacks first. It is the one who never needs to. When you stop defending yourself, you stop living by other people's judgments. You define yourself, and the world adapts to that definition. From this point forward, no explanations, no justifications, only moves that shift the power in your favor. Because in the end, the man who never defends himself never needs to. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one.